Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Chris Schad. I write for FanSided and ZoneCoverage.com. My co-host is Adam Patrick, who is a lead editor at the NFL division for FanSided. We do this right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel, and we are also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. Before we get into today's show, I just want to make a quick message here and say something quickly about my friend Jessi Pierce. As you may have heard, Jessi and her three kids, Hudson, Avery, and Caden, died in a house fire last weekend. It's a really tragic scenario, and we have decided to put a link to the GoFundMe that is meant to support her husband, Mike, and her family. As of this morning, there was $214,000 out of a $250K goal. And that goal has already been raised like a couple of times since the accident happened last weekend. So I just to let you guys know, I took a few minutes at the end of today's show to talk about Jessi and how she helped me, how she helped other people, and just my thoughts on her, because she was a really special person, and it was really important for me to do that. So before we start, Adam, I don't know if you have anything to add. I know you didn't meet Jessi, but I mean, you knew she was out there, and it's a really crappy situation.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, I never had any single conversations with her, but I've known of her and about her for a long time. It's clear she had a large impact on the Minnesota sports community, hockey, and everything else. She was the host of Before I Die over on Score North, so I listened to that a bunch of times, enjoyed her commentary and everything on there. And it's just terrible that this happened. It's just I can't imagine how her husband or her family is feeling, because it's just terrible. And like, yeah, it's not a fun situation. But the outpouring of support for her family and her husband has been awesome to see. And it's been awesome to see all the money that's been raised for them as well, so that they can, be able to afford everything moving forward. So, yeah, it's just not fun.
Yeah. And again, at the end of the show, I have my thoughts on Jessi. It's been a tough week for anybody who's, doing podcasting on the Viking side. And I know too, on the Wild side, a lot of people are hurting this week. So thoughts and prayers go out to Jessi and her family during this difficult time. But the show must go on. And Jessi's probably somewhere going, come on, guys, let's speed it up. Let's get going here. All right. So on today's show, JJ McCarthy works out like a professional athlete. So we're going to talk about that. The Vikings submitted their bid for the 2028 NFL draft. And I guess we'll lead off here, because some people might say the Vikings are having the worst offseason ever, or at least the worst offseason among the NFL. Yahoo's Frank Schwab, not to be confused with Stump the Schwab, or like the dude who lets you keep your money. He wrote his off-season power rankings, which I feel like I need like an explosion or like a, whatever with that. I'm going to read an excerpt of this, because he had the Minnesota Vikings ranked dead last in his off-season power rankings. And he basically took aim at Kyler Murray, because he says, yes, Murray came cheap to the Minnesota Vikings because the Cardinals are still paying for him. But there was a reason the Cardinals moved on. And that move, signing Murray, has been celebrated as the highlight of the Vikings offseason. And the truth is, taking on a quarterback who has run out of a taking on a quarterback who is run out by a perennially terrible Cardinals team really is the highlight of the Vikings offseason. And even that addition was a massive admission. They are on the verge of throwing in the towel on JJ McCarthy after 10 career starts. Holy run on, first of all. But, when you're using AI to write articles, that's kind of where we're going. Mr. Schwab goes on to say that the Vikings have spent the second lowest money in the NFL during free agency. Their big addition was James Pierre. Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, and Jalen Naylor got big deals to leave. I guess 1 of 3 average gets you into the Hall of Fame, right? And Kyler Murray better be as good for Minnesota as some believe he will be. Now, okay, the Vikings are having a boring offseason. I will give anybody that. But are they having the worst offseason in the NFL, Adam?
I think it's a little.
I mean, it's insane.
How are they having a worse offseason than the team that gave up Kyler Murray and is now paying for him not to be there? Although Frank Schwab framed it as, they're paying him not to be there because they don't want him. And what does that say about Kyler? What does that say about the Cardinals, who they signed Gardner Minshew to compete with Jacoby Brissett for their starting quarterback job? It's just this is the thing with power rankings that they do well. Knowing this, being a writer and editor, they do well, so people are going to do them. Somebody had to be 32, so apparently that was the Vikings. Apparently they've had a worse offseason than the Falcons, whose 2025 first-round pick was arrested and charged with 3 felonies.
You're leaving out the fact that they traded their 2026 first-round pick to get that player, but go on.
And they released Kirk Cousins after giving him a boatload of money after he tore his Achilles 2 years ago. Then they signed Tua. And then that leads us to Miami, the Dolphins, who have like what, 170 million in dead money this year, but they're having a better offseason than the Vikings. And then the Jets, who almost fired their entire assistant coaching staff this offseason. But they're having it bad. Like, he ranked the Raiders as number 1 as having the best offseason. That's great. I think that's going to really help them when they're getting blown up by 30 by the Broncos next year. That they had a really good offseason though.
Hang the banner.
So, but like, ask the Jaguars how much it matters to be the offseason champions, because how many years in a row, like Jaguars and Bears, like every year it's just like back and forth. We're the offseason champions. What does that amount to? Not a whole lot. So, yes, you have to do the power ranking. Someone has to be last, but like, I feel like. I don't know. Just the hating on Kyler Murray. Like, we have to defend Kyler Murray. He hasn't even thrown a pass in practice yet, and we have to like sit like. The Vikings should be praised for figuring out a way to get a starting quarterback of his caliber for the veteran minimum. Like, he could have gone anywhere else if he wanted to. Like, he could have gone to the Steelers. He could have gone to any other team that needed a quarterback. He could have gone to the Falcons. But the Viking, he wanted to play for the Vikings. And say what you will about Kyler, but he was with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are like one of the worst run franchises in NFL history. So this is like, how can you judge his success with his success with the Cardinals is probably overachieving of what they were really capable of. So I just think, and then you look at someone like Ben Solak over on ESPN, who I think he ranked like the top 32 offseason moves this year. Kyler's number 1. So like, and Frank Schwab's been doing this for a while. I don't want to like pile on him too much because he's been with Yahoo for a while, and I respect his work. But yeah, like, come on, they did not have a worse offseason than the Falcons, Dolphins, Jets, the Cardinals, the Broncos. I think he ranked like number 4. All they did was trade for Jalen Waddle. They didn't do anything else.
It was his rationale, just like the splashiest move. Who made the biggest?
It's just like, they kept everybody, and Bo Nix is there, and they traded for Jalen Waddle, who he can be a number 1, which is a whole nother topic. But it's like, I don't know. It's silly. It gave me something to write about. I was gonna do like a mini like short reaction post that we usually do. Turned out to be 1,000 words because I was just ranting on about, like, are you kidding me? So yeah, but like, it's also March, and nobody knows anything yet. So when what's going to happen? Well, let's say Kyler Murray wins MVP. Guess who's going to be on Frozen Takes or whatever it's Freezing Cold Takes? Frozen Takes. Yeah. Wow, I am old. Freezing Cold Takes. Yeah, next year it's going to be it's Mr. Schwab right there. And you know what we're going to say? We say we stumped the Schwab. No. But yeah, it's also like, we were talking about this earlier, like some other NFL people, like, This offseason has been slow in the NFL. Like the first week, the first couple days of free agency, were like a fire hose. Since then, it's just crickets. And I joked, but I am really wondering because the Jaguars GM came out and said like, "Oh, we're waiting for the 2027 like comp picks. That's what we're trying to get because that draft class is better." So I wonder if a lot of teams are doing that because no one is doing anything, and I wonder if everyone's waiting until after the draft or after June 1st when it doesn't affect comp picks.
Yeah, I agree with that point. The craziest thing about Schwab, and I do want to go back and backtrack. I was not accusing him of writing stories through AI. It was more of a general, just the landscape of journalism.
Yeah, people would have some rebuttals with our company if we claimed that. So
correct, yes. So I do want to make that clear. I was not accusing him of that. I also got a laugh out of the Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave thing because
I didn't even mention that.
They did not leave. They were released because they did nothing on big ass contracts. Yeah. So
speaking of, you can't praise the Cardinals for getting rid of Kyler Murray because they didn't want him, and then accuse the Vikings of not keeping Jonathan Allen, who the Vikings essentially did the same thing to a lesser degree because his contract was lesser value, but they took on dead money. Well, actually, they were going to, but then the Bengals were stupid enough to give him more money than he needed. Shout out to his agent, who I think is Thielen's agent too, who got him all that money, and now the Vikings don't owe him any more money. So good for them. But yeah, like don't sit there because when he ranked the Bengals later, he called Jonathan Allen like one of the two biggest defensive additions of their offseason. And it's like, did you watch him last year? He didn't do any. Actually, not even last year. Last year, the year before that, he hasn't been good in like 3 years.
I mean, Jonathan Allen, if you did watch him, you didn't see anything. He was just there. He didn't. But of course, Javon Hargrave going, well, Brian Flores. Yeah, he doesn't let his guys, as Jalen Redmond's like, what's your problem?
Yeah,
I got 6 sacks, bro. Like, let's calm
Harrison
down.
Phillips had no problems.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want people like Javon Hargrave on this team if they're gonna. Well, I didn't get my numbers. Okay, go to Green Bay and play with Pee Wee Herman and shots. I'll work on my Pee Wee Herman laugh, but
that's okay.
I mean, I really hate this time on the NFL calendar personally. Mm-hmm. Like, and maybe it's just because of this year, like you mentioned, it is unbelievably slow. Every GM is hanging on to their comp picks like Gollum right now. Like, precious, the precious. You go look at Packers Twitter right now, and it's like from like Nagler to Matthew Schneidman to all of those guys are just like the precious draft pick, the 4th round pick.
Well, they don't have a 1st round pick this year, right? Because of Micah, right?
Next 2 years, I believe.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right.
Which worth it, right? It's kind of like Quinn Hughes with a Wild. Like, I'm not going to miss that 1st round pick. Like you have a superhuman edge rusher on your defense. Yeah. That's not bad. But I mean, everybody's got to go out and they got to have their hot takes right now. Like Dan Orlovsky goes on Pat McAfee and he's like, I think Ty Simpson is the #1 quarterback, which is fine. If that's your take, like, go for it, dude. But like, to go on, he goes on there and he's like, well, Fernando Mendoza didn't play in the big games. He won a fucking national championship. The national champion, the biggest play of the national championship game. Yeah, the biggest play of the national championship game. He took on like 4 dudes on a 4th and 1.
The Elway helicopter.
Yeah, like in the end zone. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you got to have a hot draft take. Ty Simpson.
I'm for once, I am thankful for Pat McAfee because he did not pull any punches. Talking to Orlovsky the other day, he's like, "What are you talking about?" And then Orlovsky wouldn't answer his FaceTime because his feelings will hurt. You hurt my feelings.
It cost anything to be nice. No, it also doesn't cost anything to not be a total dumbass. Like, that's like sorry. I mean, that's kind of harsh, but
and he doesn't even get I know people have said like it's because they're the same agency or whatever. There's 3,000 people that are represented by the same agency with those guys. So it's just he doesn't even get the benefit of the doubt of that. It's just a dumb take. Like, and Charles Davis came out today, had a mock draft on NFL.com. He's got Ty Simpson going number 3 to the Cardinals.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna get drafted
Will
so
Levis,
much higher than
Kenny
he should.
Pickett all over again. Like Hendon Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone has to talk about quarterbacks. And when there are not good quarterbacks in the draft, it doesn't matter. They're gonna make them good. And there might be some agent takes here and there where it's like, hey, can you say something good about my guy so we can boost his value? And somebody's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. No problem. There is that stuff going on. Absolutely. I think I saw Pelissero today tweeting about, it's not Amari Cooper. Who's the kid from Indiana? The receiver.
Omar Cooper?
Yeah, Omar Cooper was visiting with the Cowboys or something. He's like, Omar Cooper is visiting with the Cowboys, talented receiver from Indiana who had the greatest catch in football history last season. I'm like, what? I didn't even know about that catch until he posted it.
It was a good catch.
It was a good catch. It was not like Odell's way better. Like Chris Carter did that 55 times.
It was the best catch of the football season.
Great.
Not history,
not
but
in history.
Yes. Like I
chill out on the agent.
It's just everything. It's just like off-season power rankings, draft grades, football power index. Like,
we were talking about. I was talking to somebody yesterday about like what to do after the draft, and I'm like, I really don't want to do draft grades, but I know people are going to read them.
Everybody gets these clicks. Like sometimes you just gotta go get. I mean,
I'm
especially this year,
I'm gonna go Les Snead and go fuck them clicks. So
here's the other problem too. These draft prospects are boring as hell. Like there is nothing. There's not like a Shador out there. No. There's not like a
what's his face from Vanderbilt's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, Diego Pavia. Like he's just, which is probably the smart move for him. I mean, he's not going to get drafted, but
yeah, just don't hang out with Puka Nacua. That's all. Jesus Christ.
Just everybody just crashing out.
Yeah, like
everywhere.
The best thing recently has been who's the dude from Ohio State yesterday, the linebacker who had like zero bend going around the edge rusher dummies or whatever. Like is it Sonny Styles? Yeah,
Sonny Styles had like an 11 RAS score.
Yeah, but he was doing like the pass edge rusher drills where like you go around like the big cushiony like dummy or whatever, and he was taking like 15 baby steps before he like went around, where Ruben Bain is just like one step, he's just like whoosh. Like, that, have you ever seen that video of John Randall?
Yeah,
in practice where he does
there's a regular guy and the other
guy who goes first, and then John Randall goes after and it's like, ah! It's great, but it was a lot like that. But yeah, I think Ruben Bain's gonna be a lot better than I think people think. I think the short arms thing I think is overrated because Micah Parsons also has short arms. He's fine.
That's the biggest storyline of the draft. It's like
really
Ruben Bain has short arms and Jeremiah Love is good, but he's a running back, and we can't take running backs because it's like feeding a gremlin after midnight. You're just asking for trouble. I think with the Vikings, though, in this approach, like the Vikings spent the most money in cash of any team in free agency last year. And how did that turn out? Like a lot of their 2024 signings were kind of criticized because people like, who is Jonathan Grenard? Andrew Van Ginkel?
You gave Blake Cashman how much?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And all of those players have turned out to have big roles for the Vikings. Like Aaron Jones is still here. Like that's
kind of, yeah.
Yes.
Part of it.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure they would love to have the money to throw around, but like who in free agency were you dying to get? Like Nakobe Dean? You want to overpay Nakobe Dean?
Yeah,
but the Raiders did, so they're number one in the rankings.
You want to give Alec Pierce $30 million a year?
Yeah. Like that dude will be cut in 2 years or traded. Like he's not seeing the end of that contract.
No.
Sorry to Alec Pierce, but I mean he's not good. Like
he's just good. He's good. He's not worth that kind of money. Like shout out to his agent. Like I don't think he's never gotten 1,000. I don't think he's gotten 1,000 yards.
Well, he also knows, like, What was Bernard Berrien's contract? He never had a 1,000-yard season either, but he got like $50 million, and Alec Pierce got like double that because we're having games in like Guam now and shit.
It was like 15 years later too.
We're gonna have it on Netflix. We're gonna have Tubi and all
there's
this
always
shit.
one receiver like the Kenny Galladay contract with Giants like that one year. Like there's like even Romeo Doubs with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Like it's like what?
that dude picked the perfect time to have a 3-touchdown game. National TV against the Cowboys, and every desperate wide receiver team was like, hell yeah, give me some of that. And then he did nothing the rest of the year. I feel like
some of this overpaying too is because the draft is not stocked full of like good prospects. I think a lot of teams are overspending because they're like, we know this dude is kind of good, but we don't know if, this prospect is going to be good. So might as well just give him money. Salary cap's going to go up by $300 million in the next 3 years anyway, so they'll be cheap by then. Now Justin Jefferson's what, like third or fourth highest paid, I think, after the JSN contract too.
They'll fix that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's going to get fixed at some point. Of course, it might not be until next year, but that will be the whole. If they go down the drain this year, it'll be top 5. And I think too, if you want to go sunny side up with the Vikings didn't need a lot in free agency. Like if you're an optimist about this team, you go 9-8. Okay, better quarterback play. Maybe we get a couple of things here. They didn't need a big, signing. Like
they needed a punter.
And a quarterback.
And they got one.
Not an expensive one, just a quarterback. But there is that. Speaking of quarterback, I will ask this. Are you finding humor in everybody going, oh, this is Kyler Murray or bust? Because I think it's very lazy to say he got kicked out by the lowly Cardinals. Like, how could you get kicked out by the Cardinals? They don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why. And the Cardinals are a shit franchise. Like, and there's also the thing, okay, let's say the video game thing is true, which is probably the laziest take.
They took the clause out before he even took the field.
hey, it was in there. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It was, 4 or 5 years ago, whenever it was. So let's just say it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Does JJ McCarthy come back? Because everybody is acting like JJ McCarthy is just like not there anymore. And this kind of gets us to our second topic, which is the Vikings don't sound like they're done with JJ McCarthy. Star Tribune's Ben Gessling on the Paul Allen show this week said neither the Vikings nor McCarthy seem to be interested in parting with each other. He is back in Minnesota getting ready for offseason workouts. If someone came along and you give him a big offer, maybe you consider those things. I don't think anybody in that building has given up on him, and I don't think he was blindsided by the idea that they were going to bring somebody in. I did kind of skip around the quotes a little bit, but that was kind of the gist of it. What is Ben Gessling just getting agent messages too, or what's going on here? Again, nothing. I'm just saying, global spectrum.
It's that time of year.
What's going on right now?
Oh, I'm sure there's some of that, but I mean, the Vikings are not out on JJ McCarthy right now. Probably because his wife isn't pregnant right now. No. Poor joke.
We're expecting in September again.
Yeah, right.
Freedom.
He's cut. Get him out here. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz he's trying to compete with Phillip Rivers for kids. Kevin O'Connell too. But no, I think obviously the Vikings are also going to say the right things. It's March, which is why we just got so frustrated with those power rankings, because it's March. Also, what are the Vikings going to say, and then what kind of leverage does JJ McCarthy even have? Because if he asks for a trade, great. Who's trading for you right now, kid?
The
Steelers, like the Cardinals, Your situation is not going to get better if you get traded. And I think his camp probably realizes that. This will be his third year with the same head coach, same offensive coordinator, same offense. Second year actually being able to practice with it. So second year is usually pretty good. Look at Drake May from year 1 to year 2, how much he progressed. But what are they going to say? Yeah. If they didn't like him, he probably would have been traded already.
Yeah.
So, and they also don't like, this is the thing too. We're all 100% certain Kyler's going to be the starter and be the guy. We really don't know until he gets on the practice field and starts to run this offense. Like, what if he looks terrible in training camp? Like, awful. And then JJ McCarthy, hey, he's looking pretty good. Like, are we just gonna be like, oh no, Kyler's a starter, so he's gonna go for it? No. So like, JJ's 23, he's got plenty of his career left or whatever if he wants to. It would just be odd to give up on a quarterback like that after 10 games started, who has been dealing with a ton of injuries, a ton of outside of off the field stuff, not like bad stuff, but just he's scrutinized. He was the quarterback in Michigan, so he's going to get that. He's got the 9 memes everywhere. I think Aaron Jones, Aaron Judge is starting to take over that mantle, because I saw
That's the baseball version of it.
it
Yeah.
is. But they
Yeah.
did the 9 meme for him with the World Baseball Classic. So
Correct.
he's not out of the woods yet. But like, what do you do? Yeah, like what do you do if JJ succeeds? Do you like put the 9 meme for the other team now? Like, so I don't know. But I'm happy they're not. It sounds like they're not out on him. They want to. Also, Kevin O'Connell didn't want Kirk Cousins to leave after he tore his Achilles, so he's not one that's just like ready to get rid of. He brought Carson Wentz back. Like, he's not one to get rid of guys. I'm sure he wanted to keep like Nick Mullins too. Maybe not after he like went YOLO every time he got to start. But Kevin O'Connell's not one, like, if he thinks there's any like sliver of talent that he can work with, he's going to keep you around. He didn't feel that way with Sam Howell. He didn't feel that way with Josh Dobbs. Didn't feel that way with Jaron Hall or Kellen Mond. So like, the fact that he's able to stick around is a good sign for JJ McCarthy. And who knows what'll happen in the future, but I think it's good for him. Like, he's 23. Like,
Yeah.
he could sit for 3 more seasons and he'll still be 26. Like, he's got a lot of career left if he's able to play it out. He could be the next Chase Daniel. He could be the next Blaine Gabbert, Gardner Minshew, and just be a backup for his whole career. That's not a failure either. But, whatever. I think it's smart, though, too, to just keep him around, because you don't know with Kyler. You've never worked with him before. He's never really been in an offense that's like Kevin O'Connell's. I'm not saying he's not capable, but it's just you gotta let it play out and see what happens. And also, it's football. People get hurt. So Kyler goes down or Carson Wentz goes down, you need another quarterback. And I think Kevin O'Connell would probably want to have JJ McCarthy than any schmuck who's still on the street right now.
I mean, at some point, people need to use common sense. Like, they're just blinded by 9 memes, and there's no way JJ McCarthy could be good because they brought in Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, too, people don't talk about this, and SI's Oliver Breer brought it up. That injury, the Liz Frank injury, and a blood flow issue. Now, maybe it heals and he's totally fine, but I mean, like I said, this could be a Sam Howell situation where he gets him on the field and he's like, yeah, you can't run my offense. Like, that's without, I mean, we know JJ, I don't want to say can run his high. I sit here and I go, what happens if JJ doesn't roll his ankle in week 2? Like, does he get those reps? Does he get better? Does he, what's that?
I said we're going to open that can of worms because what happened a few days before that?
Yeah, of course. But, well, he wasn't there, so he wasn't prepared. And then he just ran and
his ankles got weak once he entered the delivery room.
It was not dad's strength. It was, yes, the delivery room was actually by an electrical substation.
Right.
And like his ligaments just, oh my God. But yeah, I mean, if Murray is the video game bust that people seem to think he is, and there's a lot of people who are just diehard against Kyler Murray, McCarthy could win the job. I think it's totally possible that happens. Is it likely? Probably not. But I think, and it could be a situation too. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers were in this boat a couple years ago where they signed Russell Wilson $1.5 million, and they wound up starting Justin Fields for the first 6 games, which I think was due to injury. But
yeah, Russell Wilson was hurt.
Yeah, it's not
and Fields played better, but then they still started Wilson. That's a Mike.
Yeah, that one's weird. I don't think the Vikings would do that. They would just.
How long would Carson Wentz have started last year if he didn't get hurt? I feel like he would have got at least a couple more games.
Yeah. Yeah, if his shoulder wasn't, I mean, they would have probably, and then people would have really been like, well, soft bench. I don't give a shit. Like, if the guy's not, you saw the guy play, would you have played him if you were Kevin O'Connell? Like, if he had to play him.
He didn't want to.
Yes, he had to play him.
He wanted Daniel Jones.
Yes, or Aaron Rodgers, or just somebody so he could multiply. I mean, I've said this before. This is the scenario Kevin O'Connell wanted for JJ McCarthy coming out of college.
Yeah,
is we got a starter. I'm going to work with you behind the scenes like all summer. And the other thing is too, I mentioned McCarthy's competitiveness is going to come into play. And I also mentioned that, the guy, I feel like he works hard. Like, people shit on the whole, I do drop backs while I'm walking my dog sort of thing. Well, he fucking cares, I guess. Like, it's not like,
Yeah. Has anyone seen what Kirk Cousins does where he's, buying stuff from snake oil salesman, and he's got like the brain analyzer on his head, and he's like, oh yeah, this helps me memorize stuff. So like he can do some dropbacks while he walks his dog. I think it's okay. But
not to interrupt you, but you've listened to Robin Williams before, right? Where he's talking about, he's like, people who buy stupid shit on TVs, like, the ab thing you plug into your abs and you like flex them and it's like electrodes or whatever. Just imagining Kurt just like putting him one of those on his head, just like, I will not buy stupid shit off the TV.
What were those bracelets that like NBA players used to wear? They were like the Aura bracelets or whatever that people used to like think help them. It's like, no, they're just plastic. And you just overpaid for them. Which is a lot of things. But like, because there's no downside to keeping JJ McCarthy. I think one of the things that people probably didn't notice was that when Kyler Murray signed with the Vikings, there was not a lot of like Vikings player reactions online. A lot of people there's a couple of people that liked the Vikings announcement on Instagram. I think maybe like Jordan Addison, Hawkinson, and Darisaw liked it, but there wasn't a thing like Jefferson didn't post something on his story like "Let's go!" like
with Kyler.
Yeah, because they like JJ McCarthy, like they want him to succeed. This doesn't mean they don't like Kyler, but they don't want to come out and like make McCarthy feel like everyone's pushing him to the side because they brought in Kyler Murray. And to be fair, Kyler Murray looks like he's setting himself up for a payday elsewhere next year. Like he didn't sign a 2-year deal. He got the no trade, no tag clause in there for a reason, because he wants to make a lot of money next year. And I don't think he cares where. So there's a very good chance that JJ McCarthy is right back in the starting spot next year. So I think it's a smart move to keep him around. There's no real downside other than I don't know. He's grittying in the end zone too much in practice.
He has embarrassed the Vikings organization with his 9 memes.
His gritty is better than Thielen's, and we had to see that garbage. That is true.
His gritty is better than Kirk's too. Because remember, Kirk did the gritty, but he did it after he scored.
Right.
So
he didn't do it in the end zone.
Yeah. I still, the best gritty of all time, in my opinion, was on JJ's first touchdown. Justin Jefferson's first touchdown.
Who did the gritty in the end zone on their very first touchdown? Oh yeah, Justin Jefferson.
He didn't do it. He did it in the end zone. He started at the 10-yard line, which it's still crazy to me to think like on that touchdown. It's like no fans. Like, could you imagine if fans were there? Just like, who is this guy and why is he? Yeah, like it would have been insane. Oh man, what could have been
that season? I'm so surprised there hasn't been like a documentary on like sports from that. I'm sure there's small, like I think there's a WNBA one, but baseball, football, like all the cardboard cutouts in the stands that people like. That was crazy.
You ever go back and, well, I mean, answer is probably no, but like I've thought about it too, but like WrestleMania 36, I think
That's
it
the
was.
only WrestleMania I have not watched because I can't sit and watch like the crowd is so important in wrestling.
Yes.
I can't sit there and hear
Nothing.
everything going on in the ring. Like I don't want to hear what sound the ropes make when guys go run against it. Like I have never watched a single match from that WrestleMania.
I remember watching it live and having to dial up because like Chris Jericho made this suggestion. He's like, "Hey, use this," and it was like crowd whisper
Fake
or
crowd
whatever.
noise,
But like even like the big spots, like there would be like nothing.
like they should go back and edit it, or maybe they don't want
Yeah.
to because it's just like nostalgic. But the Thunderdome, like
I
people
really
hate,
miss when there was no crowd noise.
yeah, like, but like people rag on the Thunderdome. That was so good for them.
Yeah.
Like it changed everything, and that was like the birth of that was the start of Roman Reigns' first run. So obviously, it helped. Like it was it was getting like I did not want to. I'm sure they had like their ratings and stuff were like decreasing, so they had to figure something out. But like it was not good. Like, and they had people like behind the glass, like banging on the glass, like oh there's the people in all
Like
the
a
people from
hockey rink.
NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna get me going. Oh, listen to the pop. So that sounds like you're at a TNA show.
Yes. Oh man, just what a time to be alive. What a time to be a wrestling fan. Might be a time to be alive in 2028 because the Minnesota Vikings have submitted a bid to host the 2028 NFL draft. It would be centered around US Bank Stadium for the setup. Lester Bagley said the Vikings are vested and interested, and we will provide financial support, staff support, and organizational energy. The 2026 draft will be held in Pittsburgh next month. The 2027 draft will be in Washington, D.C., and the 2028 draft is up for grabs. So, Adam, how excited are you for the potential of the 2028 draft coming to Minnesota?
If it happens, I think I'd probably try and finagle my way there. Be like, hey, we can do some coverage there live, into it.
Live from the 2028 draft.
Yeah, from the Purple Daily Draft Party. But no, I think it's like this when people talk about good ownership in the NFL. I think this is what they talk about, where the Wilfs are always trying to do things to give like the city of Minneapolis and St. Paul and Minnesota, like surrounding area, like this exposure, give like Vikings fans experiences like this. We can get mad at them for, some of their football decisions, but I think like this just shows like how much effort they put into just giving fans like the best experience possible. And I think the draft is something we saw last year in Green Bay, we've seen in Detroit and stuff. Like has the draft just been in the NFC North for like the last handful? Because they went in Chicago, right? Did they go to Chicago yet?
Chicago,
Yeah, they
they've
went to
been there.
Chicago.
Detroit, they've been there.
Yeah,
Green Bay, they
so
were there last
the
year.
Vikings are next. Apparently, if you're going to have the draft, and they did it in Kansas City, you have to be located in the middle of the U.S. to get the draft. Apparently,
maybe what they're doing is this is like they're not going to put a Super Bowl there because it's too cold. So
yeah,
they're just going to host the draft because they think they'll get better weather, which late April.
Joke's on you. It's going to snow.
It's going to snow. How awesome would that be? Just like US Bank Stadium, there's just like a blizzard, just like Roger Goodell.
then they'd probably have the draft in the stadium, which would be
they'd
cool
probably
too.
just move it inside.
I don't know why they've never done that.
They did it once.
Where?
Dallas hosted it, and they had it inside Jerry World.
Dallas is huge.
And that stadium's ugly, but
I'm sure it's because they can't fit as many people in the stadium as they can outside, because they can get like 500,000 people outside in one area, and they can't get that inside US Bank Stadium. But no, I think it's super cool. Just it's just like I said, another thing where we might get mad about the Wilfs and some of the football decisions that they make, but this is just like another example of them going above and beyond to just give Vikings fans like an awesome experience. Because if the Vikings got the draft, that guys like John Randall would be there, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, like Jared Allen, like everyone would be there. and then you'd get all like the Detroit and Chicago and Green Bay people going up on stage and get crazy. So that'd be fun too. But no, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I hope it happens. I don't know who else has put a bid in for it. I don't know if that was reported, but it'd be super cool. Like SummerSlam's going to be there this summer, and that's going to be awesome. So
Yeah,
it's fun.
I just hope this doesn't go like their WrestleMania bids for US Bank Stadium, which kind of, I mean,
when they were like, this is going to happen, and then it did not happen.
That took forever. And then, of course, they thought they had it, and then they said, no, Vegas.
You know
and
why?
Then New Orleans thought they had it, and they said, no, Vegas.
Yeah. You know why? Because Vince thought it was going to be too cold.
Yeah. I mean, that's an old wrestling story, like Seattle WrestleMania, which I think that was 19. But like it was one of the lowest buy rates in terms of a pay-per-view in WWE history, or maybe it was WrestleMania history. And Vince blamed it because it was in Seattle. So like people didn't want to stare at Seattle, which Safeco, or well, now it's T-Mobile Park, but Safeco Field at the time, that stadium rocks. It's awesome.
They had it in New York.
Yeah.
It's colder there than
it is.
Seattle.
There's at least a roof in Seattle. Seattle's got a canopy. It's not like an enclosed roof. So like
and
you can get
I feel like that WrestleMania was one of like the coolest, like aesthetically, like one of the coolest looking ones. Like that's the one. Is that the Brock and Kurt Angle one where he missed the moonsault?
Yeah, he went for the shooting star press and landed on his head.
A concussion.
Yeah, which is crazy because I mean you could tell there's football's whatever right now, but no, the crazy part is like he could actually do that shooting star press.
Yeah. He's like 305.
Yeah, I was one of the first live wrestling shows I went to was a Raw, and they had a dark match. And one of the matches was a tag team match. So it was Brock Lesnar tagging with Shelton Benjamin, and Jesse Ventura was their manager.
Wow.
So like at the end, that was like the big finisher. Like Shelty set him up and then tagged in Brock, and he
finisher.
Did the shooting star press.
Oh my god!
Off the it was the coolest thing. I mean, it's probably one of the reasons why I'm a wrestling fan. Granted, like Stone Cold in the beer truck, you know, all that other stuff. But yeah, like seeing this massive dude, and then like just all of a sudden, like this dude who used to wrestle for the Gophers is like the next big thing. Like, I mean, he's probably going to have his last match at SummerSlam this summer.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, people are going to be confused. Like, why are they cheering Brock? It's like, no. You don't like Minnesota loves Brock Lesnar.
He said he said the other day that it was going to be a short stint. So I'm sure that this summer will be his last probably hurrah. Unless a couple of years when he makes like when Saudi pays him to come and be in the Rumble or something.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar, big puck guy, apparently. But his like kid got drafted, I think, by
North Dakota, didn't he? Or South Dakota?
South Dakota. Yeah.
Does he have
there's like 8 teams in that state.
Yeah,
like, it's not like he grew up in Minnesota.
It's Minnesota adjacent.
It is definitely different in Minnesota than South Dakota. I covered the South Dakota high school state tournament. You want to talk about differences between two states?
Don't they have good college hockey teams though?
They have Augustana, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, their coach was considered to be the Gophers' new coach for a minute, but they went back to St. Cloud.
The only state that does like whole podcast episodes on who's going to be the college hockey coach.
Yeah. It's Gopher hockey, man.
I know.
Gopher hockey is huge.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's what it is. Pros for this, though. The draft in Minnesota. I think it's great the Wolves continue to invest for their fans.
Yeah.
Not the biggest problem with ownership, but you could have a hell of a lot worse when it comes to spending necessary money.
The Cardinals owner isn't doing this.
No. The Cardinals are not spending
not doing this anytime soon.
It's a fun event that people have had, interest in for a while. So, I mean, I think it's good for the fan base. The cons, it looks like a total clusterfuck on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember watching Nashville's draft when they had it on Broadway a couple years ago. Yeah. And I'm sure it was fun to like go to, like, I want to go to Nashville. It's probably expensive and probably overrated, but just to go once. And I remember like watching it on TV and I was thinking, how do I get a beer in that? And like, how do people pee? Like,
yeah, like as an old
like you can't go to the establishments, I'm sure.
As an older person, I mean, I'm like, oh, the Ubers to get out of there, the prices must be so high. It must be like $100 to go a mile.
Yeah. I mean, it just looked like I believe Green Bay, I will give them credit. They did it perfectly last year.
I had no idea how they did that because there aren't that many people who even live in Green Bay that they had last year.
Well, they turned it into like a street dance type thing. We're like, all right, get the fences up. We'll get the wristbands.
Yeah.
We got some tables. Just make sure the Bills fans don't jump through them. This is the beer garden. Yes, like they probably booked Hairball, and like NFL was like, why did you book a band? Well, I don't know, street dance. No, we are the entertainment. Like, just don't worry. But like, it looked like it would have been fun just to like sit around. I don't even know what they're called, but it's like. It looks like a big like spool that you would have like electrical wire on, and then you have like the top on it, and people like use it as a table, and then you put your trash in the middle.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what a Wisconsin street dance is like. Be it River Falls days. I remember Hairball and like having two things, and they decided to play Stone Cold's music. So I had two pictures, and I went. And like a lot of people were mad, but it was a great time. So
it's college. You gotta do that in college.
Yeah. I hope they get it because it would be fun. And I'd probably head down there a day and just check out the experience. But a lot of people.
Yeah. That's like I grew up going to Warped Tour a lot. And that was a lot of people back then. And now it's only like a 3 dates a week festival. And now there's like even more, there's like 50,000 people that go. And my wife's like, oh, why don't you try and go? And I'm like, I don't really want to go hang out with 50,000 people. Like,
yeah,
it's not like you're going to a football game where everyone's like in a seat or something. It's like everyone's there, just in a spot. And if you're paying that kind of money, I don't want to be stuck in the back. Like, I would much rather go to like a concert that's like an intimate venue that's like $20, and like you see a band that 10 people like. Those are always some of my most enjoyable experiences in my concert going life. I'm going to a concert tomorrow.
Who are you seeing?
A band called The Maine. They've been around for a little bit, but my wife likes them a lot, so we're gonna go check them out. Have a good time. Go on a parent date.
Yeah, one of the best concerts I went to. So Rochester used to have these things. It was called Down by the Riverside, and they used to have really good guests. One time they had this up and coming guy named Eric Church, and it was completely free. So you went down there, and yeah, I mean, John Party's. I mean, I listen to a lot of country, and I listen to rock too. I mean, I listen to a little bit of everything, but like, it's still kind of crazy. It's like Eric Church played a concert for free in Rochester.
The cool thing about Warped Tours was they would always have like rock and metal bands and stuff too, but then they would also have like Katy Perry was on Warped Tour, Eminem was on Warped Tour. Who's that? Mike. Can't think of him right now, but like they'd have all these super huge pop stars before they were pop stars, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I saw Katy Perry at Warped Tour." You're like, what?
just sounds like a weird sentence. Like, no, you didn't. Yeah. No, you didn't. But that is that. All right, let's close her out here. What's going on at the Viking Age?
Well, like we mentioned, not a whole lot going on in the NFL right now, but we still have a job to do, so we have to write about the Vikings. There's been a lot of visits, I feel like, with draft prospects, so we're keeping an eye on those. I feel like they just met with some receiver from Georgia State who's like 6'3" and runs 4.4. Looks pretty good. That's like prototypical, probably what like Kevin O'Connell's like watching it. So that's fun. And then I guess keep an eye on any free agency moves that the Vikings are going to make, but they don't really have a lot of money to begin with. So they're just going to stay where they are and continue to have the worst offseason in the NFL. And then I think we're going to look a little more into, as we get closer to the draft, like some throwback draft stuff with the Vikings. Because did you read the Athletic story about Randy Moss's pro day?
I am not.
Yeah, that's the dude. He ran like a 4.25 40 and had a 47-inch vertical.
Seems okay.
Didn't stretch before either. Just got up, did it.
All right, is it 40 times? All right, whatever.
Yeah, like they talked about how he did track I think he did track at Marshall, and he just would sit there on his headphones, like not stretch or anything. They'd be like, "It's your turn." Okay, he'd just get up, take his headphones off, win the race, then go back to just sitting with his headphones. Like he's called the Freak for a reason because that dude was insane. But no, it's really cool. It's a good story. Go check that out. I think it's on. I think Bruce Feldman wrote it on The Athletic. It's like the oral history of Randy Moss's pro day. It's pretty cool.
I mean, anything about Randy Moss.
Oh yeah,
sold.
We're getting close to the 30-year 98 reunion, so I think there's going to be some fun stuff probably that come out of there. So that'll be fun.
Probably one of the greatest Vikings teams of all time. We don't need to talk about how that ended, but shout outs quick. We got Vikings and Twins coverage from me at zonecoverage.com. We got wild coverage at Hockey Wilderness, the RBN Network, Dairyland Express, the Windy City. Sorry about that Harrison Smith article. I've been off the last couple days.
Harrison Smith is not going to the Bears.
He's not going to the Bears. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. No. Good job writing it, but
I'm sure people clicked on it.
Yes,
that's our job.
That is our job. And of course, you got Detroit Jock City for the Lions. And once again, like we did mention at the beginning of the show, Jessi Pierce, her and her kids passing away in a fire last weekend. The link for the GoFundMe to support her husband, Mike, and his family is in the description. It's a difficult time. And, Judd Zolgad said this earlier this week, but like money won't reverse what happened. But if you're looking for a way to help, no matter how small, that's a great way to do it. So that is on there. And once again, stay on past our sign off here. And I'm going to give my thoughts on Jessi because she was a truly wonderful person who is going to be missed. So stay on and check that out because she helped me a lot. And it was really important for me to say it. So this is the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. Check out the VikingAge.com to keep up with all of the craziness leading into free agency. And we do this right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel where we're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. However you consume us, like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. He is Adam Patrick at Adam Patrick NFL. I am Chris Schad at The Real Chris Schad. And this one's for you, Jessi. I just want to take a minute and say something about my friend Jessi Pierce. As you probably heard, Jessi and her 3 children, Caden, Hudson, and Avery, died in a house fire last weekend. Over the last 4 days, I've seen all the tributes and I've seen people talk about Jessi, and I just wanted to say my piece and how she helped me become a better journalist and podcaster. And I guess the way to start is by a piece of advice I once heard from Sigmund Bloom of The Audible, who said that every time that he got stuck on who to have as a guest on his podcast, he would just ask himself, who do I want to hang out with for an hour? And when I would make my list, Jessi was always towards the top. Hockey fans probably know Jessi from her Bar Down Beauties podcast and her work with the Minnesota Wild. But she was just starting to get involved in the Vikings community with the Before I Die podcast. She stood in line and got a tattoo that said Skull on her forearm last year. She bled purple. And I heard about her through the Bar Down Beauties podcast in 2020 when I was battling depression and just looking for something to listen to kind of distract everything that was going on around me. And she stood out just the way that, her personality, her humor, all of that stuff, the way she used social media to promote the podcast. Like I wanted to try and emulate some of that on my podcast, The Homer Horn. And I may have done it unsuccessfully, but when Jessi started doing Before I Die for Score North, I was super excited because I'm like, I have an excuse to get her on the podcast. So I reached out, and that's the thing about Jessi. She was always willing to go on any podcast to talk sports, and we just hung out for an hour. We talked about the Vikings. We talked about some other stuff. And at the very end, I asked her what her Taco Bell order was. Now, if you knew Jessi, she said, in recent years, it was the most offensive thing you could ask, but I didn't know that. And at the time, Jessi just listed it off like a champ. Just everything single item by single item, and it was right there. So don't worry, it's on a hard drive, secret safe with me, Jessi. But that's not why I want to talk about this. Shortly after I found out about Jessi, I was making the choice whether or not I wanted to move to South Dakota for a job at the Brookings Register. And it had always been something I had feared, moving away, not knowing anybody, and just taking a big risk. And because I respected Jessi's work, I reached out to her on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. And I just said, what do you think? And she replied that she was a big fan of risk and that I should go with my gut. In that moment, my gut told me to move to Brookings, and it was one of the biggest risks that I've ever taken in my life. But I felt like it was the right move, and it was. I was there for 3 years. I got to cover a D1 school. You know, it didn't work out perfectly, but the one thing that Jessi did mention was that if it didn't work out, I could always move back to Minnesota. And the other part was, too, that Jessi had a presence still. I still listen to the Bar Down Beauties podcast. I still listen to Before I Die. There was a taste of Minnesota when I was out in South Dakota. And it really helped me get through that time in my life when I wanted to do everything. So when I got laid off, one of the first things I wanted to do was go to a Buttes live show because Jessi and her co-host Kirsten Kroll, who I'll talk a little bit more about in a bit, they would have these live shows. And I always knew I wanted to go, but I couldn't because it was 4 hours away. Well, after getting laid off, I had a lot of time on my hands. So I jumped in my car, I made the drive, and I finally met Jessi in March of 2024. And she was exactly the way she was on screen. She talked to everybody. She was super nice. We started talking and she's like, yeah, what do you think of Aaron Rodgers going to the Vikings? And I immediately rejected it. But when JJ McCarthy struggled in week 1 before he made that comeback against the Bears, I sent her a DM and I said, maybe you're on to something. Maybe they should have gotten a veteran quarterback. Of course, I wanted to get a photo with Jessi, but she slipped out the door to head back home to her family. And I also wanted to get her on the podcast again because, again, she was somebody that I found really entertaining and really fun to have on the show. We were actually going to try and get her on the show this summer before the season. And once again, she was on the top of the list of prospective guests. But of course, we know that can't happen now. So now we're talking about Jessi's legacy. And when it comes to broadcasting, I can't help but think of my friend Kirsten Kroll. Kirsten is a Rochester native, and I am so proud of her for all the work that she has done in her career coming out of St. Cloud State. And a lot of that has happened because Jessi took her under her wing. They were great on air with the Buttes, but they were even better friends off of it, with Kirsten befriending her kids and having them look up to her and everything else. And you could just tell how much they meant to each other on social media. And when you look, Jessi's fingerprints are all over this new wave of Minnesota media where people are going on podcasts and writing and gaining confidence. Guys like Jason Harmon, Thor Nystrom, Tyler Forness, they're all found their voice with Jessi's help. You know, Heather Rule, Marissa Voss, everybody at 10K Takes and Score North. I'm forgetting a whole slew of people that had been influenced by Jessi. She was just willing to help anyone. And you see it everywhere with the tributes that are coming out right now. But one of the best things about Jessi, the journalist, was that journalism is an industry where you have to adapt. But Jessi made it adapt to her. She was an awesome mom. She was doing interviews in the locker room with a baby strapped to her chest. But she also found a way to still be herself. She would go outside in the freezing cold in a bikini and do wild previews. She would attend practice most mornings. And on Friday, before, the incident happened, she was taking her kids out for ice cream and posting them on her Instagram story. And it was a frequent occurrence. Everybody says that people are one of one, but Jessi really was when it came to the journalism industry. On the last episode of the Buttes with Kirsten, Jessi was telling Kirsten a story about her kids, and one of them asked if she was famous. So Jessi ran down all the stuff that she does, and her kid responded, "Oh, so you're not Kirsten famous." And while this is a very tragic and dark story, I can't help but think of Jessi, seeing her getting retweeted by Adam Schefter, being featured on Good Morning America and all these national publications, and turning to her kids with that quick wit and saying, "What do you think of your mom now, huh? Yeah, you see that retweet right there? Yeah, Adam Schefter, yeah, what's up?" Over the last 4 days, I keep finding ways that she made an impact on me. And, there were days where I would wake up at 6 a.m. and think, "Oh man, I'm not going to go to the gym today." And then I would look on Instagram and see Jessi was already there posting a selfie at 5 a.m. with pride, just grinding away. Just seeing all the adventures she took her kids on, or dressing up for the Olympics or St. Patrick's Day or anything like that, or just giving a good laugh when I needed it. Like suggesting Sam Hartman be the Vikings quarterback because he had awesome hair and a beard and looked great. Like, it was all of those little things that made Jessi Jessi. I really wanted to run into Jessi one more time after I moved back to Minnesota. And I know that I can't hang out with her for an hour, but I'm sitting here just wanting 5 minutes just to tell her everything that I just said to open this show. And I know that's not possible, but I will end this by just sharing a story from March 2024. And I was having a really bad day in Brookings, and I was scrolling Twitter and I saw an encouraging tweet from Jessi. And it said, "I just wanted to take a moment and say you're having a good, great, even an okay day. Life can be a lot, but I think you're fucking awesome and want you to continue to remind yourself of your badassery. Just go out and have a good one today." After that, I went to the office and found out I finished in the top 3 for a photo I've taken of Jackson Yankee. And that photo is hanging up in my apartment. And maybe you've seen it in the background in previous episodes of the Viking Age. But that photo is in the background of my set. And it was the moment that I got my confidence back, where I shook off depression and everything. And I remember jumping on Twitter and sending it as a DM and being like, "Hey, this happened. This really good thing happened after you sent your tweet. Thank you so much for, saying that." And was it directly correlated? No, but it's just something I never forgot. And from this day forward, I'm always going to trust my gut, and I'm going to take risks, because that's what Jessi taught me to do. And be myself, of course, because there was a time I didn't want to be myself. So there's a link for a GoFundMe for Jessi's husband, Mike, who was not in the house at the time of the fire. A lot of people have stepped up. If you want to donate, that link is in the description. But I just wanted to say all these things because Jessi made a big impact on me, and she made a big impact on a lot of people who are in this industry and a lot of people who knew her as a friend. So I think I speak for a lot of people when I said, we're going to miss you, Jessi. And I hope you, Hudson, Caden, and Avery rest in peace.